All right, we're going to start with the details that we've accessed on the Delhi meeting. This, of course, pertains to the Karnataka Game of Thrones. What we're being told at this point is that the AICC top leadership is likely to hold one round of meetings, and the meetings will be among Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, Randeep Surjewala, who's the AICC in charge of Karnataka, and senior leader KC Venugopal. They will be discussing the strategy for Karnataka this evening. Once that discussion is wrapped up, what we're being told through sources is that there will be another meeting, and DK Shivakumar and the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah will be a part of that meeting. It's likely that they will be called to Delhi as early as tomorrow. That's the latest we have for you. Also, let's bring you the latest Karnataka Chief Minister's comment on this entire Game of Thrones. Remember, there are a lot of twists and turns, a lot of meetings happening, but the big one will be on that meeting this evening, which is going to be in the national capital. Here's what Siddaramaiah had to say.
So far, High Command has not called me. If they call me, I will definitely go to Delhi.
Siddaramaiah there, the Karnataka Chief Minister, saying that he will go to Delhi if he is summoned. You also have DK Shivakumar, who in his latest comment has said that the party is bigger than any individuals. Aishwarya is joining me live. Aishwarya, you're going to have a busy evening today and tomorrow because there is a top-level meeting of the AICC that has been planned, and that's going to take time sometime this evening. What are the details you can share with us on that meeting where Rahul Gandhi will be present along with Kharge and other senior leaders?
Well, after the statement made by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge that if required, the top leadership would be calling both the Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister to Delhi. And as he hinted out that he is not the individual one to take decision, it's a team effort, and it would be Rahul Gandhi along with the senior leadership, along with the Karnataka Congress in charges as well, who will be present and will be finalizing on the upcoming formula as to what action needs to be taken next. The sources clearly indicating to us that it all has been fast-tracked now, and this evening only, there could be a meeting that can take place between the Congress High Command internally to decide on what should be the next course of action. In this particular meeting, there could be Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge himself, who can chair alongside with Randeep Surjewala, KC Venugopal, and Rahul Gandhi. And tomorrow, in all likelihood, the Chief Minister individually and then the Deputy Chief Minister both can be summoned so that the next course of action should be decided. So a big news break over here as far as the Congress High Command making it fast track as far as the entire turn of events are concerned.
We're talking about a consensus that needs to be reached, but this is going to be a very, very difficult consensus to get to, because if the High Command decides to retain Siddaramaiah, of course, they will be upsetting the DKS camp and vice versa. You also have others who have chief ministerial ambitions at this point, others who want to be the president of the Karnataka Congress. So this is going to be a very difficult few days for Rahul Gandhi, especially if the Congress High Command wants to reach that consensus before the 1st of December.
Well, the sources in the Congress party and the top leadership pretty sure that they will be building consensus between the two leaders in Karnataka, and that's they are saying because they have done it in the past. We've seen in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, the power tussle which has grown over the years had been successfully melt down as far as the Congress High Command, the top leadership and the Gandhis are concerned. We have seen those historic images of Ashok Gehlot with Sachin Pilot, and Kamal Nath with Digvijay Singh, and in different states as well. And that's what they are hoping to do, same in the state of Karnataka. But here things are pretty different from what we have experienced in the past in different states, because both the leaders have their own supporters who are mounting pressure on the top leadership. And therefore, the reason perhaps, it will all boil down to what will happen in today's meeting and whether there would be any sort of cabinet reshuffle or
coming in,
an entire
Hold off. There's a big news break coming in on the Karnataka Game of Thrones. NDTV has accessed both the DKS as well as the Siddaramaiah camp inside track. What sources are telling NDTV at this point is that DK Shivakumar, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, wants the transition to be agreed upon. He wants clarity on that. Meanwhile, Siddaramaiah wants to delay the swap till the budget. Also, sources telling us that Siddaramaiah wants to be the longer-serving Chief Minister. He wants that record. Deepak is with us on this. Deepak, we've got that inside track. We know what both camps want. Just elaborate this for our viewers.
Well, as far as the entire saga is concerned, it revolves around the power. And you do know that in politics, power is everything. And while, of course, Mr. DK Shivakumar has been talking about what he has done in terms of a contribution being a KPCC president in the run-up to 2023, chugging this Congress engine to get 136 seats at that point in time, he believes that he was in his right to demand for the top post. And he now, of course, is taking claim for that position and saying that it is my right. I have been a born congressman. This is a statement that he repeatedly makes. He looks at himself and says that he is always, of course, only done whatever he could for the benefit of the Congress party. As far as Mr. Siddaramaiah is concerned, there have been, talks about how he has been that unifier for the Congress party. He brings to the table what very few leaders in the Congress across the country can bring. He's seen as a face of the Ahinda communities. More importantly, he is now on the verge, on the cusp of breaking the record for the longest serving Chief Minister, which is, of course, Devraj Urs. And in January first week, that milestone, of course, completes. But these are now just something that was the talk of yesterday. The talk of today is the High Command's decision. After the High Command's decision, how are the legislators really going to plan the roadmap ahead is the larger question. We'll really have to see how things play out once the High Command really today holds that crucial meeting and then decides to relay the decision of that particular meeting to the two leaders here, especially Mr. DK Shivakumar and Mr. Siddaramaiah.
Deepak, you've been speaking to so many MLAs from both camps, and there seems to be this growing chorus, or at least this, one refrain coming from both ends, which is that the party high command is going to decide. But of course, the rift, the differences, the different ambitions are there for all to see at this point, be it DKS's camp or Siddaramaiah's camp. For the benefit of our viewers, can you tell us where the support really lies? Is it going to be a thin margin, or do you see Siddaramaiah having the sway in terms of support internally from his government and from his party in Karnataka at this point?
Well, now the Congress High Command should have taken a decision if they wanted to, and the communications, if there was a change that was being planned, should have been done, from as early as probably even September. The conversation should have started, because the transition in politics is never smooth. It's not as if one call can be made to Mr. Siddaramaiah and to ask him, well, step down tomorrow and DK Shivakumar will take over. That's probably not how things play out. So there needs to be, of course, a lot of grooming towards the final move. That didn't happen. So in all likelihood, for the Congress High Command here, they want to really sit tight. They want to watch this play out. They do not want to make any hasty moves. But there are, factions here that are getting impatient as well, and they feel that it's their right time and they're not willing to wait any longer. So we'll really have to see how things play out.
Looking around you, you've been speaking to so many MLAs at this point. Is the word out there that we're going to wait and watch, because we know that the Siddaramaiah camp has a go to Delhi plan if things don't work their way? What are your sources telling you at this point when it comes to Siddaramaiah's camp?
Well, they are waiting and really looking at all the developments that are playing out, because they don't want to react when they're in a comfortable position. The Chief Minister still remains. There is no decision that has been taken by the High Command. There are no indicators that the change is coming, at least from the top brass. There's a lot of movement and flurry of activity here. Yes, to counter that, there are strategies that are currently underway. There are meetings. Today we just saw a meeting that was held at the Chief Minister's residence, where we saw multiple leaders like Mahadevappa, G. Parmeshwar, Satish Jarkiholli, Mr. Venkatesh. these are all ministers. All of them sat together and they discussed the plan of action is what we are learning about what is the roadmap ahead. For now, of course, everything lies with the High Command as to their decision.
Yes.
Based on that decision, how the response will be from both these camps here in Bengaluru, that is, of course, going to be very crucial to note.
Deepak, do stay with me. Managing Editor, NDTV. Shiv Arur also joining me live. Shiv, so many moving pieces, so many meetings, so many comments coming in. But the decision, not before tomorrow, perhaps, is what we're getting to know. That big meeting tonight, and then another one perhaps with DKS and Siddaramaiah in Delhi tomorrow. But what's important to note here is what we're getting to know as well, that DKS wants a transition map to be made clear, while Siddaramaiah wants to hold on to that post for now.
This is an incredible news break that NDTV's executive editor Veera Raghav has brought us from Bengaluru, and our team in Bengaluru reporting on all those moving pieces, as you rightly call it, Vedika. I just want to give you my view on how I think this is actually playing out. DK Shivakumar is very, very clear. He's being very realistic that he does not have the support of MLAs, but he also knows that the one thing that trumps numbers power on the ground in the Congress party is the High Command's writ. And that's the reason why he wants a clear signal from the High Command, that is Rahul Gandhi here, because Sonia Gandhi is semi-retired. Priyanka Gandhi doesn't really have a say in the party. So it's Rahul Gandhi, let's be very clear. He's looking for a signal from Rahul Gandhi that the transition will take place and that there is no confusion as to the fact that DK Shivakumar will take over as the Chief Minister. But remember, the Congress party is also a party where the High Command completely failed to impose its writ very recently in Rajasthan when Gehlot was the Chief Minister. Gehlot, who had the support of his MLAs, basically launched an incredible rebellion where he made the High Command look very, very weak and foolish. And he stood his ground and he managed to win that battle against the High Command, something that has never happened before. Could Siddaramaiah conceivably do the same thing in Karnataka is one possible concern for DK Shivakumar, because other than having the strength of the MLAs, there is a precedent in the Congress where strength in numbers and a feisty Chief Minister who has mass appeal like Siddaramaiah does can still trump a weak and a vulnerable High Command that has been eroded and corroded and weathered as a result of a series of election defeats, not least the Bihar disaster just a couple of weeks ago. So it's going to be interesting to see what DK Shivakumar wants. There's a lot of signaling happening. He wants clarity. He's doing a lot of muscle flexing on social media. The BJP is making fun of him, saying, you're doing all your signaling on social media, but you're not doing anything in real life. So DK Shivakumar also is a little concerned right now, Vedika, and it's important to observe that he obviously senses that this is his moment. He knows that the window will close if he doesn't grab this opportunity to try and lean on the High Command to keep their promise. Because remember, the camp DK, as we're calling it, is very clear that they were promised that DK Shivakumar would become the Chief Minister. Siddaramaiah is no fool. He knows that even if there was some kind of a verbal assurance given to DK Shivakumar, his support, his standing within the party, his appeal across caste considerations, etc., mean that all those equations may actually go out of the window. So what Veera Raghav has broken here on NDTV today is actually an agenda-setting news break. It means that the onus is even more strongly on the High Command. The clock is ticking. The two leaders have been summoned to Delhi tomorrow, to where we are broadcasting from, and hopefully a decision will have to now be taken.
A decision likely to be taken soon. Veera Raghav also joining us. He's the one who's brought us that big news break of DKS wanting the transition to be agreed upon. Meanwhile, Siddaramaiah wanting to serve as the longest serving CM. He wants that on his record. Veera Raghav, if you can just sum that all up for us, the big news break that you're bringing to us here on Breaking Ground.
Well, can't sum better than how Shiv has put it so far. Look, it's pretty clear where the battle lines are drawn. And I just want to add to what Shiv has said, that the DK Shivakumar, Siddaramaiah, Rahul Gandhi equation is extremely important. Let's not forget that Siddaramaiah is not an old congressman. He's somebody who comes from the Janata Party after he breaks away from the JDS. And he's seen as Rahul Gandhi's man in Karnataka to bring the party back to power, which he did in 2013. Even at that time, there were several aspirants, Shiv, but it was Rahul Gandhi's writ that Siddaramaiah would become the chief minister and be the chief minister for 5 years that made him have that run in the 2013-17 regime. After the defeat, the Congress was in two minds. You remember the Congress went into an alliance with the JDS. Siddaramaiah was against that alliance, but it was Rahul Gandhi who enforced that decision on Siddaramaiah after that electoral defeat to form that alliance with JDS, which collapsed after the 2019 parliamentary election, allowing the way for Yediyurappa to become chief minister and the BJP to have its own power in Karnataka for that period of time. So, given this history, that equation between Rahul Gandhi and Siddaramaiah is extremely important, which is why both sides want a categorical clarity straight from the top in the Congress party. It is a known fact that Siddaramaiah has the support of the MLAs and hence will flex muscles. He will say that the High Command, or his camp would say High Command cannot take a decision unilaterally and any change can be effected only after a Congress Legislature party meeting. Whereas DK Shivakumar knows that that's his Achilles heel, that Siddaramaiah has the number of MLAs and hence would push for loyalty and the emotion card with the High Command to enforce that transition. What happens in closed doors between DK Shivakumar, Siddaramaiah, Kharge, KC Venugopal and Rahul Gandhi would be crucial in determining the way forward. As we've been saying, you may not have an immediate knee-jerk sudden change decision that's coming out, but there would be multiple confabulations on what's the road ahead. If there is going to be a transition, Siddaramaiah is not going to let go easily. He's going to push for it till he can and then allow a transition when it's opportune for him. DK Shivakumar wants that clarity of whether there will be a transition or not, and he wants that adhered to. Look, there are easy questions but tough answers before the High Command. First question, was there a tacit agreement? Was there a secret deal? The High Command needs to come clear on whether there was a transition deal or not. If not, then it needs to be refuted. If yes, when will it be effected and what are the details? I think those are the things that will give clarity as far as the Karnataka context is concerned. The big man, Mallikarjun Kharge, remember, he's not a non-player in this whole thing. If there is going to be an impasse, will it be Kharge as the compromise candidate to keep the party together? So all these questions, as we've been raising, just putting that in a perspective in terms of what each side is hitting for with the Congress High Command.
And we will talk about Mallikarjun Kharge, that meeting, an all-important meeting taking place this evening with him, Rahul Gandhi and two senior leaders. But before that, there is more news coming in. We've got a big remark coming in from the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, DK Shivakumar. Amid the Karnataka tussle, DKS has said that the party is more important than any individual. I'm not claiming anything right now, is what he's saying. Listen in.
See, my reaction is nothing. For us, party is more important than everything. I am not claiming anything right now. Whatever the party, in the interest of the best interest of the party, we will all work together and see that the success of our party is more important than individual things.
Veera and Deepak live with me. Veera, coming back to you, you were talking about a possible tacit deal on transition that DKS perhaps was aware of. There was a conversation in the past that can come back to haunt the Congress High Command if this doesn't go DKS's way, could it? Is the big question as well.
Talking about a tacit deal. It's DKS who said that the deal was there between 5 and 6 people. It's his camp which has been saying that there has been a tacit deal.
Yes.
The Siddaramaiah camp has been saying there is no transition.
The Home Minister, speaking of Karnataka, we'll have to cut across.
To a section of the society, we wanted to help them. So those programs have been successfully implemented. And at the same time, without affecting the finances of the state, we were able to manage, if not big projects, at least we were able to manage the projects which we, took up and promised. I think overall in this 2.5 years, yes, we have done, as a government, we have done extremely well.
I'm going to come back to you. The Home Minister there, we had the Chief Minister of Karnataka, also business as usual, at least for the optics of it all, while there's a massive churn within.
That's right, as we've been pointing out. And you were talking about that pact or that
Yes,
secret deal
I
that's been
was.
spoken about earlier, right, Vedika? Look, it's not us who's speaking about that.
Yes.
It's DK Shivakumar who said 5 or 6 people were aware of the agreement, and his cryptic statements that word is what means everything. He has been playing that emotional card, and I think his big forte is the loyalist image with the High Command and his proximity to the High Command as this trusted congressman who's been with the party for long, who worked hard to bring the party back in power in Karnataka. And he wants to play that emotion card and ensure that his hand is dealt with properly in terms of a power transition. Whereas Siddaramaiah has always been, observers would tell you he's the anarchist. He has the support of the MLAs, he has the support of his cabinet ministers, and will play his political muscle flex as well. How this plays out would be important because all sides need to come together on this decision. And of course, the other caste combinations and the complications that the Congress needs to keep in mind in terms of a transition from an Ahinda face leader to anyone else. As Siddaramaiah is considered the most powerful face of the Ahinda caste conglomerate in Karnataka. And so how that transition would happen, if it has to happen, is also a question before the High Command. Obviously, Siddaramaiah would push for deferring or delaying that decision till at least the next budget and perhaps later, closer to the end of his term. DK Shivakumar would want a categorical assurance in terms of the transition. How this plays out, we'll have to see, Vedika.
And let's talk about the scenarios as well. Deepak, you're on the ground. You're speaking to as many MLAs and Karnataka Congress leaders as you can at this point. What are the possible scenarios that you think can be, what we see in the next 24, 48 hours before the 1st of December? First, of course, that Siddaramaiah remains as Chief Minister, but take us through what the other likely scenarios are.
Well, it all depends on this evening's meeting. Like
Yes.
we've been saying, the High Command is scheduled to meet today, and that this is going to be a discussion without the state's leadership. This is based on the information that they've gathered up until now from the leaders who've been going to Delhi. They've been speaking to. They have their own sources and ears, of course, on the ground here as well. Now, tomorrow when they discuss this, there needs to be a strategy that's going to pacify both of them. On one hand, we know for certain that they're not going to probably make a hasty decision that there's going to be a change in the next 5-10 days. That's unlikely to happen, especially because on the 8th of December, there is a Karnataka monsoon session of the assembly that's going to begin. So during that time, a transition for them to really go ahead with something like that is going to be absolutely unseen and bizarre, and in all likelihood that's not going to happen. So here what would be the strategy really is to clearly send a message that, well, there's not going to be any change at all. Or it is going to be another strategy to stall, to say, let's wait for about a month more. Bihar, has just gotten over. We don't want a situation where once again there's infighting. Let's put a united front. This is probably going to be the message that's going to be sent out. If the two leaders are going to be called to Delhi, there's going to be some sort of a messaging to everyone in Karnataka that, again, the two leaders are united. We've seen them hold hands, stand united together in the past as well. And the High Command's job would be to put out that picture once again of the two leaders together, that it is the Congress party that matters and not individual ambitions. But
Deepak,
for that,
hold that
here
thought,
one thing is
because
certain.
DK
Mr.
Shivakumar has
needs a
spoken out
clear-cut
again. I'm
assurance
sorry,
that
too many twists, turns and moving pieces. DK Shivakumar has spoken out. Let's listen in.
ನಾನು ಯಾವುದು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಸರ್ ಆಲ್ ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗಾಸಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಸರ್ ಆಲ್
DK Shivakumar, you can see the number of reporters there asking him questions, but he hasn't really said much other than, I have not posted anything. Whatever I have said I haven't spoken about it. If me and CM are called to Delhi, we will go. So that's something both Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar have said, that if the party high command calls us to Delhi, we will go. But Veera, he's also gone on to say that I haven't posted anything and I've said all that I had to.
Well, I think he has said all that he has had to, because he's been saying, and we've been picking it up. It's becoming headlines repeatedly. I do feel sad for the man, though. He can't move anywhere without a horde of cameras pouncing on him. Perhaps he enjoys that limelight. But remember, Vedika, some would argue this way. Siddaramaiah made a comment and let it rest because he had won the power play in 2023 after the assembly election, as was expected, because he was the tallest leader at that time and has the support of the MLAs. DK Shivakumar had to keep making statements and had to be in the news because he could not abdicate his claim to the throne and the fact that he's a contender and he remains a contender. This is a debate that starts off even before the 2023 election, because beyond just these two personalities, it is also the coming together of two really powerful caste blocks. One is the Ahinda caste conglomeration, which is the unification of all other smaller groups, including religious minorities, against the Lingayat and Vokkaliga domination of Karnataka politics. And in the old Mysore region, DK Shivakumar represents the OBC Vokkaliga caste hold. So it's the coming together of these two leaders that led to that kind of a victory for the Congress party. And since then, there's been talk of who's going to be Chief Minister.
All right, talk of who's going to be Chief Minister. We're going to replay that comment coming in from the Deputy Chief Minister, DK Shivakumar.
ನಾನು ಯಾವುದು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ.
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಸರ್ ಆಲ್ ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗಾಸ್ yours sir all ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗಾಸ್
I have not posted anything. I have not posted anything. ಒಟ್ಟು ಮಾತು ವಿಚಾರ ಯಾವುದು ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ. I have not posted anything.
sir all ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಗಾಸ್
Veera, it seems like the leaders also in contention for the post perhaps have been told to rein in what they say at this point, because we've had comments from them in the past that has frustrated the party high command as well. But it seems for now they're both saying the same thing. We will go to Delhi if we are called. And in terms of DKS's latest reaction, also him saying that the party is bigger than any individual.
I wouldn't expect them to say anything different, right, Vedika? Obviously, the decision's not in their hands. They've categorically expressed what they want. And the High Command knows what they want, because this is not an issue that's erupted just in the last couple of days. It's been simmering for a long while now. The Congress High Command has had several meetings with MLAs. It knows exactly who the loyalists for who are and where the MLAs stand. But remember, ultimately, the High Command's writ would mean that a decisive number of MLAs will fall in line. There will always be those who are disgruntled. But this is about upsetting the larger caste calculus. Remember, Siddaramaiah has 7.5 years experience as Chief Minister, several years experience as Leader of Opposition. He's been Finance Minister for the longest time in Karnataka, from including the Janata government. So he's got administrative experience like no one else. And Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar too is not a novice to politics. While many were compared this to the Rajasthan situation, that was between a young Sachin Pilot and an old war horse, Ashok Gehlot. Here, both of them are seasoned politicians who've stood through the test of time. And they're not those who will react impulsively. I think both are very clear about what they're pushing for. And I think this is pretty much to cement their positions. And the tough task is for the High Command to enforce a transition if it has to at some point of time. And perhaps the beginning steps for that transition could happen in the meetings that they're coming out with. Because eventually it's agreed upon that before 2029, there has to be 2028 assembly elections. There has to be some kind of transition. You cannot allow DK Shivakumar to be completely unrewarded for the victory in 2023. How Siddaramaiah will allow that to play out would be interesting to watch.
And how are the people within the DKS camp reacting to that or talking to you about this, Deepak? I want to understand from you. We've spoken at length about Siddaramaiah. We've spoken about how he wants to retain that chair for now. But an important point being made there by Veera as well about the transition plan. When will DKS be given a chance? When will his turn come is the big question. How is his camp strategizing at this point?
Well, from DK Shivakumar's camp, the time has already come. In fact, it's run out. Because November 20th was when they completed 2.5 years, and he should have ideally been made Chief Minister on the 21st. That's in an ideal scenario. But well, we all know that in politics there's no ideal scenario, is there? And especially for the Congress party, when it deals with two leaders who are within the party who are fighting among themselves, it has never been ideal. And again in Karnataka, it looks like it is going the same way. And it is a litmus test for the leadership of Rahul Gandhi, for the leadership of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge here, to ensure that there is a smooth transition if there is going to be. And if there isn't going to be a transition, they still need to ensure that everything remains smooth in the state of Karnataka. How will they really ensure that with the MLAs, flocking to Delhi, and one camp gearing up now to also make their way to Delhi in case there is another decision by the High Command in the opposite direction. So, they're not able to really rein in their MLAs. There is disappointment in the leadership, but they're not able to really control that as well. So, it is a very challenging situation, but definitely, like I said, it's a litmus test to test the leadership of the top brass now of the Congress party, because this is a very important state that we are talking about. To retain Karnataka is going to be as important as ensuring that there is no infighting in the Congress party. So it's not just about 2025, it's also about 2028, it's also about 2029, and more importantly, just ensuring that they are in power in Karnataka means a big thing for the Congress party in terms of political relevance in the country as well. They have 138 MLAs at this point in time here. They have a huge number of MLCs. What this also contributes to is Rajya Sabha seats as well. So politically a massive state for the Congress party, and if they allow this sort of infighting and the troubles internally to continue, things are not going to really fare well. So a decision that they come up with will have to pacify both sides. For now, from what I'm reading, it looks like stalling this is their best option, or if they are going to be assertive and strong, they will have to, of course, also deal with the blowback. How strong that blowback will be and which side that blowback is going to come from is also something that will depend on the decision that the High Command
takes. Let's talk more about that, Deepak. You're talking about a decision that has to be made. But the point is there has to be a strategy for that. Along with that, parallelly, there has to be a strategy for the blowback. Because the blowback certainly will happen. It's inevitable in a way, because the consensus they reach upon will, of course, miff one of the two parties. But we'll talk about that. Let's also talk about the other stakeholders. It's just not DKS and Siddaramaiah. You have Kharge, you have Parameshwara, you have others who've had ambitions, be it the ambition to head the KPCC, be it the ambition to be the Chief Minister of the state within the Congress party. So let's also talk about the other stakeholders at this point, Deepak.
Now, to be honest here, there are no more stakeholders other than Mr. DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah in the current scenario.
Yes.
I'll tell you why I say that. It is because, if there was a discussion, and this entire conversation revolves around that discussion that was held 2.5 years ago, that there is going to be a transition of power, because at that time it was the leadership of Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar united, with which they fought the election. Then there was a question as to who's going to be made the Chief Minister. Then DK's camp, of course, maintains that, the High Command decided the first half will be Siddaramaiah, the second half will be DK. So right now, the race is between them. But there are other contenders, and their entry will come in when the High Command makes a decision that there is going to be a change. And when there is going to be a change, and this is something that is made clear to, the Congress leaders here in Karnataka, that's when you'll really look at the names like G. Parameshwar, like Satish Jarkioli, like KH Muniappa. These names will start to emerge, because you have a situation where, one will say, I'm a Dalit leader. A Dalit has never been a Karnataka, has not been given top posts in Karnataka, and Mr. Parmeshwar himself led the party to a win in 2013. Unfortunately, he of course couldn't win his own constituency at that point in time, so probably they didn't consider him for the Chief Minister. Is a regret that he has. So he's of course going to come into the picture. Then you have Satish Jarkioli, who is considered a heavyweight, especially in the northern part of Karnataka. You have Congress leaders within the party who continue to maintain that for long North Karnataka has been ignored. There needs to be representation from somebody at the top level from North Karnataka. So his topic will come into the picture. K.H. Munyappa, of course, has been a long standing leader of the Congress party, has held multiple portfolios. His name. So these contenders come into the picture after the High Command's decision of actually wanting to do this transition.
All right, we have some breaking news coming in. I'm coming back to you in a moment from now, Deepak. The Karnataka Home Minister Parmeshwara has spoken out on the leadership tussle. He has said, as senior leaders, we need to discuss this. Crisis must be resolved. Party cannot be heard. Listen in.
No, see, whenever a situation arises like this, we as senior leaders, we need to meet, talk about it and resolve it so that the party will not be affected. See, people have elected us. They've kept a lot of faith in us, and that should not be destroyed. And how can you go back in 28 and say that, you gave us the mandate, we didn't do well, again you re-elect and all that. It's not possible. So that is why we meet here and there, some of the responsible senior leaders, and try and sort it out if there are any serious differences.
Deepak, the Home Minister there stating the obvious, the Home Minister of Karnataka, but fair point there as well. And also acknowledging that there is a crisis which many today, while you've spoken to them, the MLAs have completely denied that there's no crisis within the Karnataka Congress at this point.
Well, now the Chief Minister has acknowledged that there is a crisis. You have the Home Minister who has acknowledged it. You've had Mr. Satish Jarkioli, who is a PWD Minister, who's acknowledged it and says that the High Command's intervention is needed. So how soon is that intervention going to come by is the larger question. The High Command has now said, Mr. Kharge earlier had said that today they're going to hold these discussions and very soon going to call them. I'm hearing this very soon is going to be as early as tomorrow. So let's hope that the High Command will be able to make a viable decision which will play out smoothly in the state of Karnataka.
All right, do stay with me while we bring our viewers up to speed on the latest that we have for them when it comes to the Game of Thrones in Karnataka. The big players, of course, being Siddaramaiah as well as the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, DK Shivakumar. Now, it's Siddaramaiah's pressure tactic versus DK Shivakumar's promise pitch. Now remember, there was this tacit meeting that he did allude to with only 4 or 5 other people in that meeting, where there seems to be a promise that was made to him. But once it comes to Siddaramaiah, you have him flaunting his MLA power. Veera also telling us how it seems that he has the strength of the MLAs on his side for now, while DKS talks about that word power, about that tacit agreement promise that he was alluding to. Now, the Chief Minister is firing at the High Command from the eighth shoulder is the big question at this point. You have so many people coming out and making so many comments when it comes to Karnataka's Game of Thrones. CM's aide saying MLAs elected CM, only they can remove. Remember, we had the legal advisor to the Chief Minister, to Siddaramaiah, speaking with Deepak a couple of hours back, where he went on to say that this cannot be a unanimous decision taken only by the Congress party high command. Meets and big moves in both the rival camps happening. We've been going on non-stop on the twists and turns, the big meeting. Siddaramaiah met 5 to 6 senior leaders at his residence. You also had the mediator there, KJ George, meeting with him this morning. That will happen. You will have both sides holding meetings till the last moment. But that big meeting is going to be this evening in New Delhi, followed by another, we believe, which is going to be tomorrow. The Congress High Command in Karnataka bind. Of course, it seems that they are at this point, given that whatever decision they make could upset either the Siddaramaiah camp or the DKS camp. No word from Rahul Gandhi. Kharge is upset with the open fighting. There's frustration when it comes to the Congress president, Mallikarjun Kharge, because a lot of comments have been emerging from both camps, the DKS camp as well as the Siddaramaiah camp. Of some days ago also, you had Siddaramaiah come out and say that he would complete that 5-year term. But a lot of rhetoric coming from both sides, an agenda, narratives being shot out from both camps, which is not going down well with the party high command. And that Delhi meet, will it draw curtains on Karnataka's Game of Thrones? Well, this will remain our top focus all day today. Deepak's still with us. Deepak's had a very, very hectic few days as well, because he's been trying to get us all the voices from the ground, the analysis, the perspective at this point. We've just taken our viewers through a whole host of questions as well. But shifting focus for a moment from where you are, Deepak, to the national capital, I want to understand from you how difficult this decision is going to be for Rahul Gandhi to take. Because when we talk about a consensus, whatever that consensus may be, it is going to miss one of the two parties in question. Could there be a compromise formula is also another question to be asked at this point.
Well, the compromise formula is something that they hope for, but there's no tried and tested formula here, because this is something that they'll have to try again, because if you look at their formulas in the past, be it in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, in Chhattisgarh, in Haryana, they have not been a formula that has worked. So if you're going to look at a formula that the Congress is backing on, they don't have one. They need to find a new formula that will work. And in the state of Karnataka, the dynamics are quite different from any of those states as well. And the leaders are different, how they'll respond is different, and this is a politically important state, so they'll have to look at various things before they make this decision. It is definitely a big move or a big decision to make, and Rahul Gandhi, of course, is the center of all of this, because it's being made very clear that he's the one who will take a final call on this. The final call that he takes, how it will really resonate with Mr. Siddaramaiah, how will it resonate with Mr. DK Shivakumar and their respective camps, that is the larger question before us.
And Deepak, there are a lot of parties, a lot of supporters of different leaders as well who want them to throw the hat into the ring. It's not just DK Shivakumar or Siddaramaiah at this point. You've been speaking to people on the ground, and there are some leaders who have the support of some people who want them also to be a part of the Game of Thrones. If you could elaborate on that as well. Deepak.
Well, there are multiple leaders, of course, who have their own ambitions here in the state of Karnataka. Mr. G. Parmeshwar has time and again said that he is somebody who's in the, race. He's always been there. He's the one who led the party to a victory in 2013. He's been a strong Dalit face of the party, and the party should always consider him if there is an opportunity. There's KH Muniappa, who's also, of course, backed by many MLAs. He again is a Dalit leader, and we've seen already many people speak in favor of his elevation. I had a chat with him earlier, and he says at the end of the day, it's up to the High Command as well. You have the likes of Satish Jarkioli, like I said, who comes from the northern part of Karnataka. He does have his own, share of MLAs who do completely back and trust him. He is considered as a very important and key leader for the Congress party, especially when it comes to the Maharashtra Karnataka belt, and even the Kalyana Karnataka or Hyderabad Karnataka belt as well. So we'll really have to see once the High Command really decides, and if they decide that there's going to be a transition, then how many of these other names crop up, because them coming up could be as a direct roadblock to, of course, stall the chances of Mr. DK Shivakumar.
All right, so let's just bring our viewers up to speed. We do know that this evening there is going to be a key meeting that is going to be held by the Congress Party High Command. Rahul Gandhi will be a part of that meeting. You're going to have Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress President, a part of that meeting. You're going to have Surjewala part of the meeting, as well as other senior leaders, is what we're being told at this time. After which there will be another meeting that will take place, likely tomorrow. But who's going to be a part of that meeting? Siddaramaiah as well as DK Shivakumar. Both the leaders, the Karnataka Chief Minister as well as the Deputy Chief Minister, have on camera said that if the High Command calls us to Delhi, we will go. But from all that we've heard from Deepak, from Ritu, from Veera, from Shiv on this. There is a huge task cut out for the Congress Party High Command this evening. They cannot afford to upset both DKS as well as Siddaramaiah. What will be that formula that they're going to come up with? All eyes will be on that and on the meeting that will be held likely in Delhi tomorrow, where you'll have the Karnataka Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister participating in. We're slipping to a short break, but the Game of Thrones in Karnataka continues to be our top focus here on Breaking Ground and on NDTV. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A lot of developments, a lot of moving pieces when it comes to Karnataka's Game of Thrones. We're trying to get you as many voices as possible. We've told you what's lined up in Delhi over the next 24 hours. My colleague Ritu has also been speaking to ministers in the Karnataka cabinet. Listen in to what Santosh Lad had to say about DKS versus Siddaramaiah and their aspirations to take over the post when it comes to DKS and the aspiration of Siddaramaiah to retain it.
Sir, apparently Karnataka CM Siddaramaiah himself said that there's a lot of confusion obviously, but the High Command needs to put whole of this to a rest, sir. But how do you see it with what is really panning out in the state?
Nothing, ma'am, it's very clear. So CM himself is told more than 10 times that whatever decision is taken by High Command, he is going to abide by it. So how much ever you ask, so beyond that there is no proper answer. He has given a perfect answer. So we have to wait for it, and CM himself is coming here, so we have to wait for it. So since he has already cleared and said that whatever High Command says, he is going to abide by it.
So, but also a lot of leaders say that because he is also seen as a mass leader, it's important for High Command also to look into the various factors as such, sir.
Now again, for sub-question, you are asking one more question. All this is definitely will be looked by High Command. So if any such decision has to be taken, I cannot speak. The CM himself has been telling very clearly, categorically, that High Command has to take a decision on it.
The High Command will take the decision. We're hearing that from ministers in the Karnataka cabinet. We're hearing that from others as well. That action will move to Delhi this evening, viewers. But I'm going to leave it at this when it comes to Karnataka's Game of Thrones, because up next is Southern View, where Veera, Deepak and the rest of the Southern crew will decode this further for you. Stay tuned to NDTV.